Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back here to Light to the Nations to study today on the Book of Kings. As always, it's a blessing to be with you all, sharing the word of YaHuWaH and, just sharing this time together and studying this amazing book. How are you doing today? How are you doing today?
Well, much better.
Okay.
Yeah, the allergy is saying goodbye, but it's still there. And we are praying and we are concerned about all the brothers and sisters that are at this moment. Maybe they're having a lot of issue with the winter, the strong winter, because in the northern part of the year is really being cold right now. And
That's
we
what I
are,
saw, yeah.
And we're in the opposite with really hot weather. And here is like sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, that's a good point.
Yeah.
In case the camera go
black is because
the temperature is too high.
Yeah.
So we're taking a look in the chat in your comment, Camila, about Amy. So it's good to know. Thank you for sharing this comment that the surgery went well, and we need to keep her in our prayers for the soon recovery. And I see a few new names here in the chat. So welcome all of you to this small flock, this small family. But, a family that with such a big love for
our Abba.
For each one of us. So it's always good to be here and to spend this time together in Shabbat. Today's portion, we are going to complete
we're going to
book
finish
of First King, Melachim Aleph.
Yes. Yeah.
And we will continue with Melachim Bet, Second Kings. So this we titled this portion Ruach Seqer.
Seqer.
Ruach Seqer. Let's see. Ruach Seqer. That it means the spirit of falsehood.
Wow.
And this is so relevant to the timing today's timing, today's world. And not only in the secular world, also in what we see in believers in different denominations, what's going on in terms of seeking the Ruach of Elohim, or in the manifestations of the Ruach of Elohim. And what we'll see today is, and actually this is the last chapter of the book, is simply an amazing story. So we will go through that, and we will share with you what is in our hearts. As always, we rely in these studies on what the Ruach is setting in our hearts, in our mouth. And I'm going to repeat, and I'm not going to get tired of repeating this. We are not anyone in positions to teach. We are just sharing our understanding of the word. We are just students, as all of you are. And we have just one master, that's Mashiach, YaHuWaH. So and that's important, that we need to grow together, learning together. Putting together this amazing puzzle of the scripture and the mystery of Elohim that you were remembering this morning. You will have some pieces, we will have some pieces. All of us together, we will be able to grow in truth, in understanding, in wisdom. And that's the whole purpose of doing this in this channel, is just to share our hearts with you, to share what we have received. But that doesn't mean that we believe or put ourselves in a kind of position that we are the owner of the truth. No. You need to follow what we say. No, we have to follow only the Messiah, YaHuWaH HaMashiach, because he is the way, the truth, and the life. Okay? So, speaking about the spirit of falsehood, I have something to share with you that, every day, we see things happening in the world that it shows that we are living in interesting, in amazing times. Things that, because of the scope of or the ways that can you open the door
Yep.
a bit, please? Thank you for the connection. Okay. Because of the scope of the range that we can reach people with all these platforms, technologies, and so on, there's a lot of people that compared to previous phases of the history, that maybe this type of situations happened as well, what I'm going to share with you, they were unable to reach some big population. But now what's going on with all this platform and technologies, communications, and so on, this is becoming a massive thing, and it's touching people, and it's basically spreading rapidly. And somehow, for me, in the way that I see it, and I know that you don't know what I'm talking about, you will see in a moment, as an evidence, a confirmation of the time that we're living. There is no doubt in my heart that I know you, that we are living in the latter days, and we are getting so close to the soon coming of YaHuWaH HaMashiach. Do you think that we're living in the latter days?
Yeah, we have a lot of evidence. Yeah, a lot of signs in the sky, we are seeing things that we haven't seen before. We are seeing in the nature, in all the creation, what is happening with the people themselves. And we can realize, we can perceive how evil is growing and how the light of our Creator is also growing. So it's kind of a contention. And you can see all these opposite all the time that are getting stronger and stronger, and this is going to arrive to one point. And I don't know, now it's more easy to see, maybe with all the videos that we can find on the internet and things like that. But I don't know, something is telling inside of our Ruach also that we are just waiting, and we are just expecting that our Mashiach is going to be here very soon.
And what do you all think? Just put, let us know in the chat. Do you think that we are living in the latter days? It sounds like an obvious question, but not everybody maybe is thinking that we are in the last days, or maybe not everybody thinks that we are getting such close to the moment.
What it really caught my attention is to see like the young generation, some of them and a lot of them, because it used to be like the generation that was like the prodigal son, that it was going away from the Father, from the Creator. And now a lot of them are like coming back, and then with the speed that is almost like a miracle itself, that they have like this hunger that we feel at the beginning of our walk. And it's like the period of time is getting shorter. And I think that is something that I have never seen before.
Absolutely. So let me share this with you. Actually, let's see, I didn't prepare this properly, but let's see if I can do it now. I think it's this one. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, just stay with me for a minute. This one. Perfect. So let me share this. Pam is saying, yes, we are in the latter days. Okay, we are in synchrony. So let me share this with you. So I have told you, and this is related to the spirit of falsehood, connected to the portion today. I have been sharing with you at least twice in previous videos that I have been somehow monitoring or tracking the person that somehow appeared in my feed in YouTube.
Yeah.
And suddenly...
And it was, out of the blue.
Out of the blue. And immediately caught my attention. I said, oops, this guy, this man... could have an important role in the days that we are living. And let me show you the picture. Maybe you remember one of the videos that I was sharing in the past. So this is the person with the black hat. The other one also has a black hat,
Yeah.
but it's a Jewish. This is not a Jewish. This is a kind of Muslim, but it's not a Muslim.
And it's strange that they are always hiding their eyes.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So he called himself Abba al-Sadiq. So I found this information just yesterday, and I was sharing it with you. And what they're saying is you know, my jaw dropped like this, and you cannot see me. But I just want to, and I just want to see here something. Just give me a second. Okay, so I just want to share with you what they are saying. And I'm gonna just read part of it. So let me read it for you. It says, Abdullah Hashem Abba al-Sadiq is the person in the picture, is the awaited Mahdi and Qaim of the family of Muhammad that the Muslims have been waiting for. He came forth claiming the will of the Prophet Muhammad, which he told his companion, come, let me write for you a statement after which you will not go astray. And
this is what he said.
This is what he's saying, you know, this is everything that they're claiming. This is they are connecting Torah, they're connecting the New Testament, they're connecting the Quran. And the message they're delivering is the spirit of falsehood, you know, you can see it, but it's impressive what they're saying. So let me continue reading, you know. It says, he backed up the will by demonstrating knowledge with his videos that have been published on YouTube in a series called The School of Divine Mysteries. And in his book, which has shocked with the world, The Goal of the Wise, he specifically came for the first time with knowledge regarding the reality of the soul, how the souls of individuals are related in this world, and has revealed the reality of soul families. It has been prophesied by the family of Muhammad. So let me skip here to this part. After claiming the will and demonstrating divine knowledge, he is the only one on the face of the earth calling towards the supremacy of God. He's the only one, they're saying. He's the only one on the face of the earth calling towards the supremacy of God and raising the banner which has written on it, allegiance is to God. You remember I shared in one of the videos is this black banner, black flag of Muslim with this Arabic words, that there is a video that somehow a brother in the past said that the mark of the beast that is written in the book of Hassan, somehow it could be connected specifically with this word. Allegiance is to Allah, they're saying. In this case, they're saying allegiance to God. Somehow how it's connected in the way that it's written to the symbols that were translated as 666. Okay, so let me continue reading. It says, the will knowledge, actually I'm going to skip this one. So let me go this one.
That one.
Abdullah Hashem Abba al-Sadiq,
This person,
has proven himself to be the awaited savior of mankind.
wow.
And he calls us to God and to his kingdom, which he wants to establish on earth. You see? So they're claiming that this guy is the awaited savior of mankind, and he is the one that is coming to establish the kingdom on this earth. And let me continue reading a bit. It is obligatory on everyone that when they identify the Mahdi to give up all their worldly possession, support him, and to go to him even if crawling over ice. Let me repeat it. It is obligatory on everyone that when they identify the Mahdi to give up all their worldly possession, support him, and to go to him even if crawling over ice. The promised Mahdi is calling for your support. Will you support him or remain in doubt? Doubt which will cause you to miss his caravan. Sounds to me like a second Exodus, his caravan.
Yeah.
With no second chance. You know, again, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because it's incredible from my point of view what's going on.
Yeah, maybe it's something that is, how do you say, that is not like a big announcement. It's something very small, but it's there. And sometimes, usually, we can see that he is auto-proclaiming himself the savior. So
Maybe it's nothing.
we-
Maybe they have a very small group that is, has been growing and growing since I just
so the
appeared
first
out
one,
of the blue to me. And maybe they don't have so many followers, but it's exactly what you said. The only fact that there is a person that is claiming to be the savior of mankind,
Yeah.
that we need to get rid of everything and to follow him, and he's coming to establish the kingdom here on earth, beside everything that he's saying in the other videos, that is spirit of falsehood. But it's amazing the way that the guy has knowledge.
And
I had to admit, he has knowledge.
And the issue is that he's like the serpent in Eden. Why? Because he's mixing a lot of truth with a lot of lies, and that's
Correct.
something very, very dangerous.
So
Because I haven't seen anybody who has that specific knowledge in Torah,
yes, in the Bible,
in all
the
in the
stories,
scripture,
the
in the
scripture,
story of YaHuWaH.
uh-huh.
He knows everything, and in a very deep, level. So is something that it really called my attention, and how he is going to maybe caught a lot of people who are not very sure and who doesn't have a strong testimony. So he's going to take a lot of people from different places.
So today, again, those kind of testimonies and evidences, like this one that we are sharing with you, for me is an additional sign of the days that we are living.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to be so careful that we are staying strong on what we have been received, so what we have received so far. YaHuWaH has been so compassionate on us that he has allowed us, I would say, all of us here today in this broadcast, to walk in his ways for so many years already. And in the true way, in the ancient path, I mean, because most probably all of us have some kind of stories at church in the past, but my walk in the ancient path, in the whole scripture as the truth, began on 2012. So has been 12 years already. So most probably for many of you has been in a similar range of time. So YaHuWaH has been so compassionate on us that he has allowed us to walk all this way, all these years, getting knowledge of his word, to get to the point that we are getting now, where we have people like this one that I was sharing with you, claiming to be somebody. So for us to have the proper discernment and to be already established on the rock that is YaHuWaH and the truth of the word, so not to be deceived. Even though we need to continue walking in this truth and holding so fast to YaHuWaH, because when the wonders and miracles will begin to happen by the hands of this type of people, because it will come, it is written, it will happen, they will try to deceive even the chosen one. And it's going to be difficult. That's why, we need to be so strong in the rock, on the rock. So when that time comes, we are not being moved from that position, because it's going to be difficult. That's why we have always to give thanks to YaHuWaH, because he has been so gracious, so compassionate on us, to show us his way and to prepare us for this point. Because our responsibilities when that time comes, and actually it's a responsibility for all of us even today, to share the truth. So for those people that are, I'm receiving, and I think you told me something like this, I don't remember how exactly it was, that people are receiving so many things that they don't know what to believe. That we can go and we can spread the truth of the word. Those that are receiving the word but it's twisted, that we can go to them and to share light on how to understand the scriptures. We have to do this now. And when the time is going to get even more difficult, We need to get stronger in order not to be deceived and also to lead other people in the true way.
I was not going to mention this, but I think something is telling me you need to share this. I remember that, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, it was our sister Albany who was sharing a video where she was seeing in the sky, in the clouds, a figure. I don't remember if it was a figure, but it was colors. It was like Aurora Borealis, that is, you can see in the Arctic. It was something like that, with the colors, and it was no reason to be there. And she could manage to videotape this, and she put it in her YouTube channel. And I remember I saw that. And what happened to me, it was this Wednesday. I was walking with my parents, but it was something even more strange. It was like, look up. It was something like that. You need to look up, because this was like the first time. Usually when you have the sunbeams crossing the clouds, usually they're like this. Well, this were in the opposite direction. It was to the other side.
So from the
bottom
up.
From the bottom up. And over a white cloud, it was not raining, nothing, but it was a white cloud. It was a rainbow, a perfect rainbow, but it was in the other direction. It was like a smile.
Okay.
It was like a smile, but it was really high. And I was telling my dad and my mom, and it was the first time that they see something like that, because usually the rainbow is over the mountains, over the grass, over the landscape, and something very attached to the ground. And sometimes you can see like something like a rainbow, but it's like colors, when it's around the sun and it's in a perfect circle.
It's a ring.
It's like a ring.
It's a ring around the sun.
Yeah, but it was not a ring, and it was like a perfect rainbow, but just a part
Upside
of it
down.
and upside down. And in the position that it was, you cannot say, what? We don't have that kind of rainy cloud. It was like a small cloud, white cloud.
Interesting. What I have seen the same there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. So it was not only me. So, and I told my mom and my dad, because I couldn't, and I knew that if I was going up and take a picture, only that 5 seconds or 10 seconds until I get to the house, I was going to miss the rest. So I told them, you are my witnesses, you are the witnesses, and then we told you about that when you were there. So
strange things are happening, and the signs on heavens, as Corina, I think, wrote there. And we need to be so attentive and to fulfill the mission in these times. If we are alive in these times, it's because we have a mission to accomplish. And we should not be afraid of moving ahead on fulfilling that mission. We need to be so prepared for the right timing when YaHuWaH is going to push us to fulfill the mission, because we need to do it, not to hesitate, not to doubt, to do it. Because for some reason, for some special and a specific reason, he decided in his wisdom to give us life in these days. So we need to be prepared, and not only give us life in these days, is to train us. All these years, we have been receiving training. We have been training, understanding the word, applying the word to our own lives, so we can go and share with others. Yesterday we were, checking those videos of people at church that they were teaching, and I think we shared about this last week. But now we saw the videos teaching about the feast, how connected to Yahushua. Other lady that was sharing and preaching to young people about her experiences, how her eyes were open when she visited Israel, started to see the scriptures in a different way. So people at church, YaHuWaH is doing something with people at church in Christianity. And as I said last week, we have received, and I told you this as well yesterday, we have received all this knowledge, all this training. And when we are going to training, and this is exactly what Yahushua did with the disciples. Sorry that I'm jumping from one thing to the other, but everything is connected. It's exactly what Yahushua did with the disciples. He was training the disciples. We have been receiving training. And the Messiah has been training all of us. That's exactly what's happening through the Ruach. And when the disciples were ready, he sent them out to bring the good news of the kingdom. I think that time for us to be sent out is already here and is coming more stronger. So it's going to be the decision for all of us to decide if we're going to be obedient or disobedient. If we are going to be strong enough and bold enough to take the call and fulfill it. Because as it is written in the word, is that even creation is groaning for the manifestation of the children of Elohim. Is crying out for the manifestation of the children of Elohim. All of us are those children of Elohim. And creation is crying out for the manifestation of you and me. It's like we are the Elijahs, the Eliyahus that are hiding ourselves in the cave. It's time to go out of the cave, receive the word. We receive all the training. Maybe we will continue, and that's true, we will continue receiving training and knowledge, but maybe we get to the point now that we already receive all the training, the necessary training in order to go out and start leading people in the true path. Because people are going to be desperate. Today, people are desperate because of everything that's going on in the world. Now, with situations like the one that I was sharing with you, with people that are coming with these bold statements, messing up with everything, connecting religions in this way, and I'm the savior, people won't know what to do and what to believe. And with the signs and wonders that they're going to start seeing, they're going to get trapped. They're going to go into the trap, caught by the trap. So is there that we need to go, even though that this could cause persecution, and we will talk about this in the portion. We need to be bold enough, no matter the consequences. That's what a true child of Elohim does. So we need to be prepared. Let's move on. Okay, let's move on. So let's share this song, and we go to the portion. Okay, so let me share this song with you. Here we go.
לא ינום, הנה לא ינום, ולא יישן, שומר ישראל. הנה לא ינום, הנה לא ינום, ולא יישן, שומר ישראל. לא
That's a beautiful promise, you know. Part of the lyrics of the song that he is the one keeping Israel, and he doesn't sleep, doesn't slumber. So if we trust in him, we have nothing to fear. So let's pray together. YaHuWaH Elohim Sebaot, Elohim of Israel. We want to give thanks to you in this Shabbat because of everything you do for us, for your people. In these times of we live, we are seeing so many things that you revealed to your servants in the past, to your Nevi'im servants, the prophets. And we are so humble that you have decided to give us life in these times, and we are able to see these things happening. We just want to be ready for fulfilling the purposes you have in your heart for all of us in these times. We trust so much in you, that in you we find peace, we find hope, we find expectation of life. That in you we find protection. So in this moment we want to ask you, that you can give us the necessary strength to endure until the end. Thank you for your mercies, your compassions, and your love. Because if we are here seeking your face, walking your path, because you have taken our hands and bring us to this point, because you were the one opening our eyes and our understanding, even opening our hearts to see your truth and to comprehend that it's only in you where we find life. It's not because of us, it's because of you. And in the same way that you have done all of this, we know, because this is your promise, and you are not a man to lie. We know, that if we continue in you, you will do more things through us. Use us in your hands, O YaHuWaH, in these times, to be the true light to the world that Yahushua spoke about us, in order to shine in the middle of darkness, so people can come to your light and come to your truth and your kingdom, to your kingdom. Come to our Melech, Yahushua. We want to stand on the rock all the time, serving you with all our hearts, in humility, with joy, and with shalom, knowing that anything that we have to suffer in this world, if we do it for your purpose, we have a reward at the end in your kingdom. The only fact that we have the expectation to be close to you, to be part of your kingdom, to be your child, and to participate together with Mashiach in the restoration of all things, is a reward in itself for YaHuWaH. We want to be part of it. And we know that we are part of it in these times. Guide us in everything we will say today. Teach us of your truth. Make us grow in your wisdom. Heal our bodies. We pray for Amy. You can bring recovery, soon recovery, to her situation. That you can give strength to those ones that are weak. You can bring healing to those ones that are sick. You can bring restoration to those ones that are brokenhearted. You can open a door for those ones that are going through tribulations and trials, so they can find peace and hope. Oh YaHuWaH, we invite you that you can be with us in this time, that your presence be within us, that your Ruach can manifest himself within us in this time. Thank you, our Todah, YaHuWaH, for your love, for your Son Yahushua, because we pray in his name in this moment. Amen.
Amen.
So let's go to 1 King chapter
21
21.
and 22.
So let's go 1 King chapter 21. You want to read first?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
And it came to be after these events that Naboth the Israelite, Naboth means fruits, and Israelite sown by El. That's the translation.
So it's fruit sown by Elohim.
Yeah. Had a vineyard, which was in Israel, near the palace of Ahab, the sovereign of Shomeron. And Ahab, the meaning, because I don't know if we told, this is like the uncle, because it's the brother of the father, Ahab. Ahab. And Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, give me your vineyard, and it shall be a vegetable garden for me, since it adjoins my house, and let me give you a better vineyard for it. If it's good in your eyes, let me give you its worth in silver. So he was proposing here
Deal.
a deal. He wanted to have that piece of land because it was closer to his palace. And Naboth said to Ahab, far be it from me, by YaHuWaH, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers to you. So it was in the family. It was the effort of his family. So he refused to do it. And I don't know, maybe it was not only because he was not greedy, but maybe he has a promise that, I don't know, maybe the parents were telling, you are going to receive this, it's going to be yours, give it to your, I don't know, children. It could be any reason. But he decided, because we have to remember that this was the king. So you are refusing to the king. So...
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But you know, we usually have this kind of attachment, emotional attachment to things. So he was in his right to refuse it. And maybe we don't know the story behind. Maybe, as you said, there was something so special for his family that was special for him.
And I think that maybe also is something related because he has a vineyard. And then the what was the intention of Ahab? It was to change the use of the soil. So I'm going to destroy the vineyard, and I'm going to have now a vegetable garden. So I don't know. Maybe it could be something like that.
Maybe he was saying, I'm going to keep the vineyard. I'm going to give you my vineyard over there. So, but I'm going to change anything. Maybe that was the missing part.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, like always in the scripture, we have some layers, different layers on this, but we will go into those layers in a minute.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
And Ahab went into his house embittered and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Israelite had spoken to him when he said, I do not give you the inheritance of my fathers. And he lay down on his bed and turned away his face and did not eat food.
Like a small child.
Yeah, like a small child. And they're...
frustrated. They don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah,
but here it came the big mama.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To take
things
care
in about,
her hands.
yeah, you're not going to be sad anymore. So Isabel, his wife, came to him and said to him, why is your spirit so embittered that you are not eating food? She only realized about that when, because maybe he was, And he said to her, because I spoke to Naboth the Israelite and said to him, give me your vineyard for silver, or if you prefer, I give you another vineyard for it. But he answered, I do not give you my vineyard. So Isabel, his wife, said to him, do now
Do you now?
do you now rule over Israel? Rise up, eat food, and let your heart be glad. Let me give you the vineyard of Naboth the Israelite. Wow. So
Such a statement.
yeah.
I'm
So,
going to give it to you.
yeah, you are the king, so don't worry about this. I'm going to find the solution. Then she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters to the elders and the nobles who were dwelling in the city with Naboth. And she wrote in the letter saying, proclaim a fast, and sit Naboth at the head of the people, and sit 2 men, son of Eliel, before him to bear witness against him, saying, you have blasphemed Elohim and the sovereign. Then you shall take him out and stone him to death. And the men of his city, the elders and nobles who were inhabitants of his city, did as Isabel had sent to them, as it was written in the letters which she has sent to them. So they were also obedient to what was instructed. They proclaimed a fast and seated Naboth at the head of the people. And the men, son of Belial, came in and sat before him. And the men of Belial witnesses against him, against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth has blasphemed Elohim and the sovereign. So they took him outside the city and stoned him with stones, and he died.
Wow.
You want to make a comment?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
I'm
Okay.
not feeling it yet.
Okay. And it came to be when Isabel heard.
No, I think you...
Okay. And they sent to Isabel, saying, Naboth has been stoned and is dead. And it came to be when Isabel heard that Naboth had been stoned and was dead, that Isabel said to Ahab, arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Israelite, which he refused to give you for silver, for Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it came to be when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose to go down to take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Israelite.
So all the frustration went away.
Yeah.
He rose up from bed. He started
And
to eat, most probably.
he didn't even question about the death of Naboth. So he didn't put the 1 and 1 equal 2. He didn't do that
said,
exercise.
thank you, darling.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted so much, so hard, that vineyard. Thank you for giving it to me.
I think that he was used to that kind of action
Absolutely.
from the wife.
Yes.
Yeah. Sad. And the word of YaHuWaH came to Eliyahu the Tishbite, saying, rise up, go down to meet Ahab, sovereign of Israel, who lives in Shomeron. See, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, where he had gone down to take possession of it. And you shall speak to him, saying, thus said YaHuWaH, have you murdered and also taken possession? Can you see what your wife is doing is going to be taken as your own actions? This here in this statement. So that is the important
Have you murdered? It wasn't him, it was her.
But it was like,
Even it wasn't her. She was the intellectual
but
person behind.
it was connected directly with him. It was the intention.
Why? Because he was in charge to the eyes of Elohim.
Yeah, he didn't
He
stop.
was responsible. He didn't took his role in that union.
Yeah.
He allowed her, that was a wicked person, to take control over it.
Yeah.
So to the eyes of YaHuWaH, the responsibility is over him. The same with Adam and Hawa.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
exactly the same.
And you shall speak to him, saying, thus said YaHuWaH, in the place where dogs licked the blood of Naboth, the dogs are going to lick your blood, even yours.
Well, so in the same, what he's saying, this is the curse.
Yeah.
Because YaHuWaH pronounced a curse through Eliyahu, a curse over Ahab, against Ahab, is that in the same place that Naboth died, the dogs were going to lick the blood of Ahab, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ahab said to Eliyahu, have you found me, O my enemy? He realized that it was on the open now, all the murder situation and everything. And he answered, I have found you because you have sold yourself to do evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH. See, I am bringing evil on you, and shall consume your descendants, and cut off from Ahab every male in Israel, both those shut up and those left at large.
So this is important. This is what we were talking earlier today. So the curse or the punishment because of what they did to Naboth was not only against Ahab, the curse was against his entire house.
Yeah.
Actually, part of what we review, and if you remember it in the previous portions, when Ahab decided to keep alive Ben-Hadad, the sovereign of Aram,
Yeah.
YaHuWaH said through a prophet that he was going to pay with his own life the decision of keeping alive Ben-Hadad.
Somebody
So
who was under the ban.
There was there was already a sentence given against Ahab that he was going to lose his life because of his evil ways and evil decisions. So in this way, in this case, somehow it's reinforcing, in the way that I say, it's reinforcing that the sentence against Ahab, that he was going to die, but he was making it even stronger, saying, the dogs are going to lick your blood. That was the additional thing because he was already under sentence of dying.
So you're not going to die during your sleep. You're going to have something like a kind of wound because your blood is going to be out.
So there was an additional sentence, but it was even worse because it was a curse for his entire house, and not only his entire house, also against Israel.
Yeah. And make your house like the house of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, son of Ahiah, because of the provocation with which you have provoked me. And,
those were previous kings of Israel.
Yeah. And made Israel sin. And also of Isabel, YaHuWaH has spoken, saying, the dogs are going to eat Isabel by the wall of Israel. Wow. The dogs are going to eat whoever belongs to Ahab and dies in the city, and the birds of the heaven are going to eat whoever dies in the field.
That's wow, tremendous curse.
Yeah.
This is what I was telling you. All the house of Ahab, everybody was going to die. And if they died in the city, dogs were going to eat their flesh. If they were going to die in the field, the birds were going to eat their flesh. And then somehow it's so similar to when we see the prophecies in the book of Revelation, when birds of heaven are being called in order to eat the flesh of kings.
Yeah. They're invited to like a feast.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's going to be so many people dead on the way that they're going to have plenty to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed, there never was anyone like Ahab who sold himself to do evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH, because Isabel, his wife, stirred him up. So he was always under the influence of the wife. And he acted very abominable in following idols, according to all that the Amorites had done, whom YaHuWaH dispossessed from before the children of Israel. And it came to be, when Ahab heard those words, that he tore his garments and put sackcloth on his body, and fasted and lay in sackcloth and went softly. So he repented. And the word of YaHuWaH came to Eliyahu the Tishbite, saying, see how Ahab has humbled himself before me. Because he has humbled himself before me, I do not bring the evil in his days, but in the days of his son, I bring the evil on his house.
So that's exactly what we're talking.
The rest,
it means that he was going to die, but all the rest, the curse over his house was not going to happen
while he was alive.
It was
going to be later.
Later, exactly, during the reign of his son. So interesting story. Interesting story, because there are so many things that we can take here, again, in different layers. In the first layer, this is a kind of normal situation that even in these days can happen, something similar like this. It could be in any kind of interaction we have. It could be at work. It could be with family. It could be any social interaction we have between people. Maybe not with lands, not with vineyards, but the reason behind and the behavior, you can see it all over the place. I can tell you, I was telling Lillian, in my job, I see this in a regular basis. I have been going through situations like this, even recently, where you see people with those intentions, just to take something that doesn't belong to them, in a way that
it's not righteous.
it's not righteous. It's an evil way. And all these conspiracies and letters and communications that are going behind the scenes in order to prepare the ground and to remove some things that are rightful for people, or taking it in the wrong way. Just not to go into the details. So we can see this happening all over the place, and this is helping us in the same way that there was the intention of the parables of Mashiach, is to teach us how we should conduct our lives and our decisions and behave ourselves when we see these type of things. Are we going to be those sons of Elias that are going to participate on a situation that we know that is wrong? Not at all. Are we going to be doing the opposite of what Naboth did, seeing that somebody that is coming with a higher position in society, coming to us something that we don't want? Are we going to accept and say, yes, take it, when we don't feel it right in our hearts? Not at all. What else? Are we going to participate and join ourselves in a whole situation, not being maybe witnesses like the two sons of Eliab here, but accepting the letters and saying, yes, let's do it, to any communication that an evil person is sending, when we know that it's evil, in order to participate in the orchestration of something that is not good? Not at all, because this is not a righteous way to live. So in the first layer, we can see an amazing instruction for life, in order for us to make connections on how we should conduct our behaviors and our decisions in our day-to-day, in any situation.
We cannot have bad actions in order to get something that is not in this case, at the first, the first thing is that it didn't belong to him. So he wanted to have it anyhow. He was sad, okay, but then the wife was doing everything. But it was some kind of greed. And you can see that working today when, maybe some inheritance among the families, that usually is something that, I don't know if it is a saying on your country or not, but usually when you have a happy family and everything, and all the brothers and sisters, they love each other, but there is just like something to inherit from the fathers, and then they are going to be the real person who were all the time. And it's when you want something that doesn't belong to you, we cannot do something like that. Abba is going to, if you ask something from Abba and he thinks that you are worthy to receive it because you have the right heart, he's going to move mountains. But if not, he's not going to do it. He's going to even make harder a heart of one person. And that was what happened with this case. Maybe if the king was a good person, maybe it would have been a different story. But he was not a good king. He was making all Israel going astray. So let's see what else we can find here. You know what I found interesting, and I will share this a kind of a second layer on this story, that the whole situation is about a vineyard, and is the king of Israel, is the house of Israel, is the northern kingdom. And there is a passage that I want to share with you, and this is part of a study that I did in the past about the trees, the 3 trees. I titled the study. And what I was looking and studying through all the words, just the word of YaHuWaH, to understand the meaning of the trees, because there is an important meaning of the trees. Trees are mentioned all over the places, and with a specific focus. What are the 3 trees? Is the olive tree, the vineyard, and the fig tree.
So this passage is from the study, and it's in the book of YaHuWaH, Isaiah, chapter 5. And let's read, let's begin on the verse 1. It says, and this is a kind of a parable as well. Please let me sing to the one I love, a song for my loved one regarding his vineyard. My loved one has a vineyard on a fertile hill, and he dug it up and cleared it of stones and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a watchtower in its midst, and also made a winepress in it. And he waited for the yielding of grapes, but it yielded rotten ones. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, and man of Yehudah, please judge between me and my vineyard. What more could have been done to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Why, when I waited for the yielding of grapes, did it yield rotten ones? And now, please, let me inform you what I'm doing to my vineyard. To take away its hedge, and it shall be burned. To break down its wall, and it shall be trampled down. And I laid it waste, it is not pruned, nor dug, and thorn bushes and weeds shall come up. And I command the clouds not to rain on it. Interesting. Where we saw the drawing, this study, over what place? Over the northern kingdom of Israel. For the vineyard of YaHuWaH Sebaot is the house of Israel, and the man of Yehudah is his pleasant plant. He looked for right ruling, but see oppression, for righteousness, but see weeping. Woe to those who join house to house, who add field to field, until there is no room, and you are made to dwell alone in the midst of the land. So, who is the vineyard? Is the house of Israel. The house of Yehudah, or the man of Yehudah, are a pleasant plant. They are not the vineyard.
No.
They are other plant. So when we see the going back to the first king, and we see all this interaction, what I see here is exactly what is written in the book of Isaiah. That basically a vineyard that is the property of a righteous man, Naboth, want to be taken by force and to remove. It's like darkness trying to remove something that belongs to YaHuWaH. In this case, is the house of Israel. So unrighteousness and evil took over the house of Israel, and we have been seeing this all over the place. So this for me is a kind of, as I said, that's a kind of parable. That is, the vineyard is the house of Israel, and somehow are showing everything that happened to the house of Israel. Evil people and evil itself took over and do everything possible in order to take ownership of the vineyard of YaHuWaH, the rotten grapes. Instead of righteousness, evil. And we see here clearly what's going on. Now, the only fact that the name of the Naboth, what's the meaning? Is fruits. Fruits of the vineyard. So the fruits of the vineyard are being removed, are being killed, are being persecuted, are being stoned to death. And that is a connection for me with Messiah. And let me share you share with you this parable that Yahushua was speaking to the Pharisees in the book of Matthew, chapter 21, verse 33 onwards. So it says the following. Here another parable. This is Mashiach, Yahushua speaking. There was a certain man, a householder, who planted a vineyard. So Naboth, YaHuWaH in the case of YaHuWaH, and here Yahushua is giving a parable with the same symbols and the same connections. Who planted a vineyard, and placed a hedge around it, and dug a winepress in it, and built a watchtower. And that's why here are making the connection with what is written in Isaiah chapter 5. And he listed to farmers and went abroad. And when the season of the fruits drew near, he sent his servants, the fruits, Navot. He sent his servants to the farmers to receive its fruit. Who are those servants? The prophets. The prophets that were coming all over the place, time to time, to preach and to tell the people to do teshuvah, go back to the ways of YaHuWaH, remove the evil from your hearts. So those are the peoples in the parable of Mashiach. And the farmers took his servants and beat one, and they killed one, and they stoned another.
Wow.
We see the same happening in the story with Naboth. Again, he sent other servants, more than the first, and they did likewise to them. And last, he sent his son to them, saying, they should respect my son. But when the farmers saw the son, they said among themselves, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him. Let us possess his inheritance. What I have wanted to do is to take possession over the inheritance of somebody else. This is exactly what we see happening here. You know, the farmers, they were in charge. Ahab, as king, was in charge of the people of the house of Israel. And he wanted to take possession and leading the people astray from the true path of YaHuWaH. But the farmers possessed his inheritance, verse 39, and they took him and threw him out of the vineyard and killed him. Therefore, when the master of the vineyard comes, what shall he do to those farmers? They said to him, the Pharisees, says to Mashiach, because that was the audience, evil ones, he shall bring them to evil destruction, and lease the vineyard to other farmers who shall give to him the fruits in their seasons. Yahushua said to them, did you never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. This was from YaHuWaH, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Because of this I say to you, the reign of Elohim shall be taken from you and given to a nation bringing forth fruits of it. And he who falls on this stone shall be broken, in reference to himself. But on whomever it falls, he shall be pulverized. And the chief priests and the Pharisees, having heard his parables, knew that he was speaking of them, and seeking to lay hands on him, they feared the crowd, seeing they held him to be a prophet. So everything connected to Messiah. What happened with Naboth? Letters from Isabel were sent to the people with false witnesses. And because of the lies, the people took Naboth outside and they killed him. What happened with Mashiach? They brought false witnesses when they were with the high priest. And those false witnesses were speaking lies about Mashiach. And they took Mashiach outside the city and they killed him. So you see the parallels basically in this story, how we see this happening in two layers. One in the house of Israel, as Mashiach even in the parable is speaking about, and also in the life of Naboth as a kind of foreshadow of Mashiach. But there is something even interesting for me, prophetically speaking, and it's about the spirit of Isabel or Jezebel. Because when we go to Matthew chapter 23, and in this chapter, Yahushua is speaking about the Pharisees and complaining to him how they are leading the people astray, that they are focusing in the outside and not in the inside, and so on. And he's saying the following in the verse 34. Because of this, see, I send you prophets and wise men and scholars of scripture. Some of them you shall kill and impale, and some of them you shall flog in your congregations and persecute from city to city, so that on you shall come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, from the blood of the righteous Hebel to the blood of Zechariah son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the dwelling place and the slaughter place. Truly I say to you, all this shall come upon this generation. But listen to this. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killing the prophets and stoning those who are sent to her. How often I wish to gather your children together, the way the hen gathers her chickens under her wings, but you would not. See, your house is left to you, you lay waste. similarly to the curse over Ahab. For I said to you, from now on you should by no means see me until you say, blessed is he who is coming in the name of YaHuWaH. So Jerusalem is the city, is a woman, and is being accused in this passage by Yahushua that this woman, Jerusalem, is the one killing the prophets and stoning those who are sent to her. But previously, Yahushua was saying that the blood of those killed are in the hands of the Pharisees or the religious people. So we see exactly the same thing when we put it in parallel to the story of Naboth.
It was like the woman behind the act. He was doing all the intellectual things, but other ones were taking the action.
The woman Isabel, Jerusalem, sending communication and letters to people to take the actions that she decided to do. She was the one killing, and that's why what you said, that when YaHuWaH sent Eliyahu, he put responsibility over half of what Jezebel decided to do. But she didn't kill Naboth with her hands. He used the hands of somebody else to kill Naboth. So the same thing is happening with Jerusalem. Jerusalem is, Jezebel is a foreshadow of Jerusalem.
Maybe it's not
the evil Jerusalem, not the new Jerusalem.
Yeah, the evil one.
Yes, it's the tale of two women that I have been speaking for years already. That the one woman that is, the Jerusalem that is now is, and the other woman, ¿cómo dices el que no puede tener hijos?
Barren.
The barren one, thank you. The barren one that is a foreshadow of the new Jerusalem that is the mother of us all. So the evil Jerusalem, the whore of Babylon, the mystery Babylon, New Jerusalem, in charge of everything and sending somebody else to kill the servants sent by YaHuWaH. Even the Son himself. Okay? So, all of that, in just one chapter. How to use it in our own benefit, in how to conduct our lives, but also how this is connected to what happened to the house of Israel, how what happened, even to Yahushua, how, all of this is a foreshadow, prophetic foreshadow for Jerusalem, for the servants, and for persecution. So we need to understand, as what we said at the beginning, persecution will come. We will see this happening all over the place. Even if we stand in our position, no, I'm not going to give this because it's not right, we are going to be persecuted. This is exactly what is in the blessings of what Yahushua was speaking at the Mount. Blessed are those that are being persecuted for righteousness' sake. We are going to be persecuted if we stand firm on righteousness. But the question we need to ask ourselves, are we going to be afraid because of that? And because of fear, we are going to do something different?
Yeah, maybe we are not killed by a sword. Maybe we are not killed by I don't know.
We can be killed by this sword.
Yeah. We can be killed by the friends that they're not friends anymore, from I don't know, from people that we used to rely on, that they are not there anymore. So that kind of killing also is a kind of killing. So so not only the physical one.
So one additional point that I want to stress here, Jezebel sent letters, words,
and using
written words.
and using the identity of the husband.
Yes, exactly. So what we can see is that falsehood, using the identity,
He
but
used
also
even the seal.
falsehood through letters.
Yeah.
And also we see people making alliance, just connected to the what we were sharing at the beginning, to these letters and these communications and this belief in order to do what there is being commanded for them to do, even to crawl over ice if it's needed. So words, wisdom, communication, beliefs, system, we need to be so careful. That's why staying on the rock is so important. Studying everything, like the Bereans, is that we need to confirm everything to the light of the truth of the word of YaHuWaH. We need to do our job. We cannot rely and we cannot depend upon the belief of somebody else. We need to listen to everyone, even to us, but we need to do our part of studying the word of YaHuWaH in order to confirm by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses that this is the real truth in the place that we know it is the truth, that is the scripture. So we will see this deception through communications, through words, through religions, through beliefs, that everything somehow is coming by the spirit of Jezebel in order to take possession of what belongs to YaHuWaH. And we are part of his possession. They will try to take possession on us. They will try to take possession of the entire world because the entire world belongs to him. They already did it somehow. But even they believe that they did it, everything belongs to him and he's going to take it by force because that's what's going to happen at the second coming of Mashiach. So those small things are so important. And just to emphasize even more, because I saw it now in the screen, what they were proclaiming, they were saying, let's proclaim a fast. What they were doing, they were serving. A fast is because, it's something to seek Elohim. So even in all this creation and in all these stories, the deceit they brought was connected to serving the spirit of falsehood. And through that, they were killing a true servant of YaHuWaH. Okay? Persecution, and so on. To remove the fruits, to remove Naot, the fruits of the vineyard. That's exactly what they wanted to do. Let's remove the fruit, Navot, of the vineyard, and then let's take possession of the vineyard and let's do whatever we want with it. So we need to meditate on all of this. Anything else you want to share?
Not here.
About the curse and so on?
No, I think that from my side is the importance of being only led by YaHuWaH. He's the only one that doesn't contain falsehood. All the rest, every human being, it has some part of falsehood. We want it or not. When Mashiach was being asked, he said the only perfect one is the Father who is in the heaven. So somehow we have just to rely on him. Yeah.
True.
So, and we have to do all the possible and pray always to be part of his truth.
There's something, we will see, and we will talk a bit more about in the next chapter. But let me mention it here, and we have been talking about in this. Is that we always need to meditate within ourselves. Till what point we are going to be tolerant of being close to people that are not righteous. And yesterday I had the chance to hear it somehow, not completely, but somehow. I was too tired and we put the video, but I wasn't not putting that much attention to the last video of Steve Mutria.
It was very
He was talking about, I think the title is Leading the Way, or Lead the Way, I think. He was speaking something related to this as well. The only thing that I remember the video, or the most important that came to my mind now, is that Mashiach was spending time in company of sinners. But there is an important difference, and this is what Steve mentioned. Sinners were coming to Mashiach because they wanted to change their lives and they wanted to become like him. They didn't want Mashiach to become like them.
Yeah.
And Mashiach was not going to them because he wanted to become like them.
No. He wanted to heal them.
Exactly. So considering the whole story and considering what's going on, and actually in a daily basis, in all our interactions with people, we need to get to a certain point where we need to make strong decisions. Till when we are going to spend time and partake with people that maybe they are not righteous. That doesn't mean that we are going to block people. That doesn't mean that we are not going to have compassion on people. That doesn't mean we're not going to try to reach those people to the truth. No. What I'm trying to say is that we need to make in one point the decision how long I'm going to spend time, until when I'm going to spend time and tolerate people that are doing evil things or are not doing righteous things, especially those that are doing evil things. Because the time that I'm spending with people like this, it could create we can open a door that somehow, and we see this happening in all the stories here, and we'll see them further in the second Kings, that we will become like them. We will be doing exactly the same things like them. So this is really important. I with my regular day, I can tell you sometimes I'm meditating in these things, because it will come one moment that we'll need to make a strong decision, and we need to draw the line on the sand when the things explode in society, in the world, and we need to make tough decisions, and we need to pick a side.
This is my position, and from here I'm not going to move. I'm not going to
my side is with YaHuWaH. It's not with this world. My side is with YaHuWaH. And this decision, somehow we need to learn how to do it in our regular and daily basis when we encounter ourselves with people that maybe behave in a different ways, with people that believe in a different ways. And we feel this in our Ruach. And when we feel that burden in our Ruach, it's because, he's trying to teach us something. And maybe it's the way he's teaching us and preparing us for that moment where we need to draw the line in the sand and make that tough decision. He's preparing us for that. So, why I'm mentioning this, and I said we will talk about this with other examples in the next chapter, but we see it here. Why those elders of the city decided to continue following Isabel instead of standing strong to the truth. No, this is evil. They were tolerating to follow because maybe they were having some compensations or rewards. They didn't want to go against the rulers in this time, even though that they saw that the rulers were evil. And by the way, I'm not saying that you need to go against the governments and things like that. This YaHuWaH will take care of. But the point is that how much I'm going to participate in these actions, or to stay away from those situations. And if staying away means that I'm not gonna continue, I'm not gonna say yes, I'm going to say no to what you are asking me, and that means that I'm going to be persecuted and even killed,
or isolated.
So be it. That's why we see the two examples here. Naboth, that the ruler came, give me your vineyard. No, I'm not gonna give it to you. And what was the end result? Death. But he stood firm on what he knew it was right. And the other example of all the people that received the letters, and they said, okay, yes, I'm going to do what you're telling me to do, even I know that it's wrong. Why? Because they didn't want to go against the rulership. They wanted to be in peace. And they wanted to continue living their life.
Yeah, sometimes living in peace is going to make you to cross the line. So you have to be careful about that kind of decision. So
again, we encounter ourselves in this type of situation on a daily basis, maybe on a small scale. Those are those situations that it's an opportunity for us to learn how to behave and how to conduct our decisions following righteousness, the righteousness of the kingdom of YaHuWaH. So let's move on to chapter 22. It says the following. And they continued 3 years without fighting between Aram and Israel.
They have peace.
They have peace, but between Aram and Israel,
yeah.
not between Yehuda and Israel. Sometimes Yehuda, the two houses were fighting like crazy. And it came to be in the 3rd year that Yehoshaphat, I think all of us we have heard about Yehoshaphat. He's a good king. He's the king of the house of Yehuda, sovereign of Yehuda, came down to the sovereign of Israel. And the sovereign of Israel said to his servants, do you know that Ramoth in Gilead is ours? And we are keeping silent from taking it out of the hands of the sovereign of Aram. And he said to Yehoshaphat, do you go with me to battle at Ramoth Gilead? And Yehoshaphat said to the sovereign of Israel, I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses, my dear friend, I know that you're so evil, and you have a wife that is so evil. Don't worry, we are echad. This is what he's saying.
Yeah.
We are echad. We are just one. We were split in 2 houses. Yeah, I remember, and just paraphrasing, I remember that because of the sin of Shlomo, this prophecy came that the kingdom of Israel was going to be split in 2 houses. I remember all the story of what happened with Rehoboam, with Jeroboam, that they put the people astray with these 2 big bulls that he put in Dan and this one over here. And I know that you have these 450 prophets of Baal. Remember Eliyahu? I heard about this story. Eliyahu killed all of these guys. And I know that you have been doing a lot of evil, but don't worry. We are friends. We're friends. We are echad. I'm gonna be with you. Let's go and take back Ramoth in Gilead. This is exactly what we were talking before. I know Yehoshaphat knew that Ahab, and especially Jezebel, were totally evil. And even he decided to make this big statement that we are echad. I'm gonna keep company with you. You are my friend, my brother. I'm going to tolerate that you are doing evil before the eyes of YaHuWaH. Don't worry. And why? I think it's written later, because there was the time of peace between the 2 houses. What Yehoshaphat did, and was a righteous king, by the way, Yehoshaphat. But here we see making a wrong decision, and that brought consequences, actually. I forgot the word, but he was compromising. Thank you. He was compromising his belief, and he was compromising the truth for the sake of peace. I want to have peace with the house of Israel, but I'm compromising my belief, my emunah, that is pushing and teaching me to keep me on the truth and the path of righteousness by having company of evildoers, because I want peace. And that's exactly the decision we want to make. We need to make on a daily basis. I rather prefer to have peace, compromising righteousness, or I rather prefer to go through persecution before I prefer to keep righteousness of the kingdom. Blessed are those who are being persecuted for righteousness' sake, because of those who are going to inherit the kingdom of Elohim.
He was looking the peace with man, but he didn't realize that he was losing the peace with YaHuWaH. And that's why it says, those who are wanted to be friends of the world are going to be enemies of YaHuWaH. That's
absolutely. So let's continue. My horses are your horses. And Yehoshaphat said to the sovereign of Israel, please first inquire for the word of YaHuWaH. At least. We are echad, but first let's consult with YaHuWaH. Ahab was not going to do that, but at least Yehoshaphat was a little bit more wise and said, okay, before any decision, before any action, let's consult with YaHuWaH.
And do you think that maybe Yehoshaphat had in his heart maybe this feeling, I want to help him to go out from that
Most probably.
bad way,
Most
and
probably.
maybe I want to be somebody who could lead him to the right path.
It could be. But when we know the story behind the
Yeah.
scenes,
Yeah.
we understand that he
That-
was, maybe that was the original intention, but he was caught in the trap on his own heart that he didn't continue firm on the rock. Even
Maybe
he
you
wanted
can-
to save Ahab,
maybe you
he
can-
compromised.
Yeah, maybe you can try to extend your hand, but you have to be sure that your foot and all yourself
Correct.
are firmly on the
Correct.
rock.
You are not moving from the rock. Yeah, you can use your hand. I like it. But your feet are on the rock all the time.
Yeah. If you move there, then you,
You can use
be,
your
you
mouth
can
in
be
order
cool.
to talk, to give counsel. But your feet are over the rock all the time. So let's inquire of the word of YaHuWaH. And the sovereign of Israel gathered the prophets, about 400 men, and said to them, do I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or do I refrain? And they said, go up, for YaHuWaH does give it into the hand of the sovereign. Oh, such a beautiful picture.
This is like a little David moment.
Yes.
Because David used to
Ahab, you know, did teshuvah. He repented himself, and that's why YaHuWaH said, okay, I'm not gonna bring this evil upon him or his house in this time. Maybe he's already repented, and that's why, let's bring the prophets. Let's consult the word of YaHuWaH. And the prophets are, yes, go ahead. Go ahead. YaHuWaH does give it into the hands of the sovereign. But the verse 7 is so interesting.
Yeah.
And then now you can see it more
now
clearly.
I can see it.
And Yehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of YaHuWaH besides, that we might inquire of him? So wait a minute. Let's wait a minute. Here is so important, and I want you to see what I saw and we were discussing with Lillian before. And let's go back a little bit on the story.
Why he was calling another prophet.
Yes, let's go back a little bit on the story. And let's remember in the chapter 18 with this amazing showdown of Eliyahu with the 450 prophets of Baal,
Yeah, the two
with the fire,
sacrifices.
the two sacrifices system, in order for the people of Israel to decide and not to continue hopping between two opinions. Who is Elohim? So who were the prophets in the house of Israel?
It was all
The prophets of Baal
and the Asherah.
and the Asherah and so on. So here in the question of Yehoshaphat, he was asking for a prophet of YaHuWaH. Somehow he is implying that the prophets that were prophesying in the verse 6 were not prophets of YaHuWaH.
Even though they were asking YaHuWaH.
And not only asking, they were speaking for YaHuWaH. They said, go up, for YaHuWaH does give it into the hands of the sovereign. Ahab and Isabel were leading the people astray to idolatry, to the worship of Asherah, to the worship of Baal, and so on. Isabel, if you remember, she was killing the prophets of YaHuWaH. And one of the servants of Ahab was hiding people and feeding the people in a cave, some of the prophets of YaHuWaH. And Eliyahu, that's why he was escaping from Isabel. So those prophets that were prophesying in verse 6 were not prophets of YaHuWaH, even though they were speaking in the name of YaHuWaH. And Yehoshaphat, sorry to finish, and Yehoshaphat saw that. He realized that those prophets are not prophets of YaHuWaH, and that's why he was asking in the verse 7, is there not here a prophet of YaHuWaH that we can inquire of? Go ahead. You wanted to say something.
No, that maybe the one that the servant of Ahab was hidden, maybe it could be that those are the one that were brought right now?
Sorry, again?
That those one that were hidden in the cave maybe are the same that are being brought right now?
I don't think so,
No?
because they were escaping from Israel. Do you think that they were going back? It's the same thing, the same attitude of Eliyahu.
Well, yeah.
They were hiding themselves because they were saving their lives. If they were going to appear in front of Israel was going to kill them.
Yeah, you're right.
So most probably those prophets were prophets of Baal, were not prophets of YaHuWaH.
Yeah.
And what I was somehow challenging you earlier, and it's a challenge for all of you as well, and we can discuss openly about this. If there were not, there are two things here. They were not prophets of YaHuWaH, but they were speaking in the name of YaHuWaH. It's the same thing that we see happening with the letters of Israel. It's how communicating, deceiving by words, establishing a belief system, and in this case even further, because they were speaking in the name of YaHuWaH. YaHuWaH will give them in your hands. Go ahead and do battle them. So we can see exactly as Mashiach was speaking in chapter 7 of the book of Matthew, is that when they will say, but Lord, Adon, we have been doing so miracles in your name, so much miracles in your names, and so prophesying in your name. And he will say, depart from me, you workers of lawlessness, you who are breaking Torah.
Yeah, like the Pharisees, that they were teaching, but they were not doing.
Exactly. So we will see people, and this is exactly happening today, the spirit of falsehood, that we will read a little bit more about it later. The people that can speak in the name of YaHuWaH. The guy that I was sharing you at the beginning, he's speaking about Elohim, he's speaking about Israel, he's speaking about the Ark of the Covenant, connecting everything, making a big mess with the Quran and so on, with the name of Israel and so on. So speaking in the name of YaHuWaH, but they were not servants of YaHuWaH. So deception. Don't be deceived.
Maybe they have something visible.
And that's the other thing. That's the second point. Is that how YaHuShaphat was able to recognize that those were not prophets of YaHuWaH. And this is exactly what you were saying.
Maybe they were not using tzitzit, maybe they were using different clothes, and then you remember about what the others did, that they were cutting themselves.
Exactly.
So maybe they have a lot of scars or tattoos.
It must be something visible. YaHuShaphat must saw something to understand that those prophets that were speaking in the name of YaHuWaH were not prophets or servants of YaHuWaH. And that's why he was speaking and asking, let's bring a prophet of YaHuWaH. He saw something with his eyes. Maybe, as you said, was in the way that they were behaving. Maybe in the ways that they looked alike, what they were wearing.
Or maybe YaHuShaphat has discernment.
And also has discernment.
So,
and this is connected to exactly what you said. Analyzing what happened in the chapter 18 in all this showdown with Eliyahu and the 450 prophets of Baal. Eliyahu went to serve and worship YaHuWaH by rebuilding the altar, the slaughter place, bringing water on the slaughter place, bringing the offering on the slaughter place. What the other people were doing, they were cutting themselves. Maybe they have tattoos. Maybe they were dancing they were crying all over the place in order to bring prophecies. And you remember Eliyahu was making fun of them. So maybe this is exactly what we saw, what YaHuShaphat saw. Maybe they were doing exactly the same. Maybe they were dancing. Maybe they were full of cats or tattoos that YaHuShaphat said,
could we have a second opinion?
What's going on here? What's going on here? They're speaking in the name of YaHuWaH, but they don't look like following the commandments. The commandments is that they don't need to cut themselves.
Yeah.
I don't see the other prophets in the past crying and blowing people or doing things, When we see manifestation of the Ruach HaKodesh in churches sometimes, in these days, we see such a show happening. The way the people, preachers, somehow are behaving.
They are mocking about the Ruach.
Yes. It's a kind of mockery of the Ruach of Elohim. Could it be that maybe in this case, we are seeing something similar? YaHuShaphat is seeing a behavior on those prophets, even though they're speaking in the name of YaHuWaH, a behavior that is not righteous, a way of worship that is not in the righteousness of the kingdom. And because of that, because they didn't see the right full fruits, by their fruits you will know them, said Mashiach. He understood immediately that they were not prophets of YaHuWaH, and that's why he was asking for a prophet of YaHuWaH. Food for thoughts, for us to discern when we see manifestation of the Ruach HaKodesh. If this is coming from YaHuWaH, or this is not. But YaHuWaH is always in control, and that's the make it a little bit even more difficult to understand. So let's continue. It says in the 8th, and the sovereign of Israel said to Yehoshaphat, there is still one man, Michayehu, son of Yimla, to inquire of YaHuWaH by him. But I hate him, because he does not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Yehoshaphat said, let not the sovereign say so.
Yeah, because he was evil, so of course that he was going to have evil reports or evil I don't know, sentences about himself. That
Absolutely.
was him.
So the sovereign of Israel called an officer and said, bring Michayehu, son of Yimla, at once. And the sovereign of Israel and Yehoshaphat, sovereign of Yehuda, were sitting each on his throne, dressed in their robes, at the threshing floor at the entrance of the gate of Shomeron. And all the prophets were prophesying before them. And here is the same person that I was telling you. And Sidkiah, son of Kenaanah, actually he's bearing the name of YaHuWaH in his own name, had made horns of iron for himself, and said, thus said YaHuWaH, with this you push the Arameans until they are destroyed. So they are speaking in the name of YaHuWaH, but they were not prophets of YaHuWaH. They are displaying something that not according to the ways of YaHuWaH. We need to use discernment all the time. And all the prophets were prophesying so, saying, go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for YaHuWaH shall give it into the hands of the sovereign. You know, they're repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating again the same phrases. Go up, go up, go up. Sounds familiar. And the messenger who had gone to call Michayehu spoke to him, saying, see now, the words of the prophets with one mouth are good toward the sovereign. I'm warning you, Michayehu. This is what they're saying. Please, let your word be like the word of one of them, and you shall speak good. Please, speak good. I'm telling you, you know, I'm just giving you, just to make it funny, a piece of paper with the phrase they are saying. So take the piece of paper on the way, learn the same phrase, and say exactly the same. It's almost like that what he's doing.
Yeah.
Please don't do anything different. And Michayehu said, as YaHuWaH lives, whatever YaHuWaH says to me, that I speak.
I remember about the Bilam.
He was saying exactly the same. And you know, this is interesting because at the end we see how we can change our minds because of situations. And I think this is exactly what happened with Michayehu. He listened to the words of the messenger, and he didn't want to get into troubles. Again, is the decision. Are we going to tolerate evil, or we are going to fight for righteousness and stand firm for righteousness? And he came to the sovereign in the verse 15, and the sovereign said to him, Michayehu, do we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or do we refrain? And he answered him, go and prosper, for YaHuWaH shall give it into the hand of the sovereign. Like a zombie, like the other ones that were saying exactly the same phrase. And the sovereign said to him, how many times have I made you swear that you do not speak to me except the truth in the name of YaHuWaH? So he said, I saw all Israel scattered on the mountains, and as sheep that have not shepherd. And YaHuWaH said, these have not master. Let everyone return to his house in peace. Wow.
He was talking about what was happening because they didn't have any master there.
No, it was Jezebel controlling everything. What's happening in that time was going to happen in battle, and it was happening all over the place. But now we have a king that is gathering the sheep. A king, connecting to the previous passage, that he said, I am the vine, you are the branches. I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He is the owner of the vineyard. So even though the maybe were still dispersed and scatter on the mountains. We have a king that is the banner in the world, that is divine, that is calling the sheep to him in order to be gathered into the right place. So it's still happening somehow. This is what I want to say. But we have a savior, the real savior of mankind, YaHuWaH HaMashiach. And the sovereign of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, have I not said to you that he would not prophesy good concerning me, but evil? Then he said, therefore, hear the word of YaHuWaH, the prophet. I saw, and this is the interesting part. I saw YaHuWaH sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of the heavens standing by him, on his right hand, on his right and on his left. And YaHuWaH said, who shall entice Ahab to go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And this one said this, and another said that, and a spirit came forward and stood before YaHuWaH and said, let me entice him. And YaHuWaH said to him, in what way? And he said, I shall go out and be a spirit of falsehood. Ruach Seqer, the spirit of falsehood, in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, entice him, and also prevailed. Go out and do so. So, this is an interesting passage. And for those of you that have not reviewed the message or the studies of Michael Heiser, he was doing and working throughout many years in two specific topics that I think are the most important topics on his ministry. Okay, the one he called it the two powers in heaven, and the second one he called it is the divine counsel. And he's using somehow this passage in part of his studies in order to determine that according to the scriptures, that it is a divine counsel in heavens. The YaHuWaH is the one making all the decisions, but basically, just summarizing, he has the sons of Elohim, spiritual sons of Elohim, that are participating somehow in those decisions that are the hosts of the heavens. It's a very interesting study. So I'm not saying that I fully agree with the study of what the Michael Heiser is doing.
But you can see the reflection here.
But I can see the reflection there, and I think it's worth enough to take a look on those studies because he's bringing interesting points that maybe is opening us an additional dimension of what the spiritual realm really is, and what's behind the scenes. And actually, let me bring a few passages to you for the food for thoughts. In the book of Job, and this is a classical one, verse 6, it says, and the day came to be that the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before YaHuWaH. Who were those sons of Elohim? Were not men. And Shatan also came among them. And YaHuWaH said to Shatan, from where do you come? And Shatan answered YaHuWaH and said, from diligently searching in the earth and from walking up and down in it. And YaHuWaH said to Shatan, have you considered my servant Job? There's none like him on earth. So you know the rest of the story. It's a similar thing that we see with the Spirit.
Thinking about that.
With the Spirit coming forward and said, let me do it. How you are going to do it? I'm going to entice him by putting a spirit of falsehood in their mouths. And then the second reference from others is what is written in the chapter 4 of Revelation. After this I looked and saw a door having been opened in the heaven. And the first voice which I heard was like a trumpet speaking with me, saying, come up here, and I shall show you what has to take place after this. And immediately I came to be in the Spirit, the Ruach, and saw a throne set in the heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he who sat there was like a jasper and a ruby stone in appearance, and there was a rainbow around the throne. Maybe this is what you was seeing, like a foreshadow of the throne, like an emerald in appearance. And around the throne were 24 thrones, and on the thrones I saw 24 elders sitting, dressed in white robes, and they had crowns of gold on their heads. So
I'm always
24 thrones together with the throne of YaHuWaH.
Yeah, I'm always thought that it was talking about the 12 tribes of Israel and then the 12 disciples. But then the strange thing is that it says in some other place that they are part of the building, the construction.
Yes, but it's not written here.
Okay.
So again, my invitation, go ahead. I think Michael Heiser had a very good material on this topic, and it's something to consider. Because, when we see this happening in this chapter about this decision being made on heaven, it's really interesting just to make us think what's going on over there, what's going on over here. YaHuWaH is allowing this type of things happening because he's always in control. He's making the last decision in this council. So, and we know that those kind of situations, he's allowing this to happen with the purpose of testing our belief. As we have been saying so far, testing if we are firm on the rock and in his truth. Okay, so let's continue. So, in the verse 24, and Sikiyahu, son of Kenan, the one with the horns, came near and struck Michayehu on the cheek and said, "Where did the spirit of YaHuWaH, the Ruach of YaHuWaH, pass over from me to speak to you?" So you see, this is what I was telling you. He was a kind of a leader prophet, leading the prophecy for good and a half, and now it came this guy that is bringing a total different prophecy, and even going forward saying that this decision happened in heaven, and what was happening with all these prophets, even Sikiyahu was a spirit of falsehood allowed by YaHuWaH, brought by this spirit
just to entice Ahab.
And he was, because of ego, he was saying, when the Ruach of YaHuWaH came out from me and went to you.
It was very close.
Yeah.
I feel the wind.
Yeah, because it's so warm and hot in this one. That's why I wanted to give you a little bit of air. So, this is exactly what's happening today. When we talk about spiritual war, spiritual battle, we see manifestations of the Ruach of Elohim in different places, in different ways. This is exactly what I see happening in this chapter.
So maybe even men of YaHuWaH, they're going to be even speaking falsehood. Because why? Because there is a purpose behind. It's the will of YaHuWaH that needs to be established. So this is strange.
Yes.
But that's what is
it's
happening.
To test, it's to
we are being
filter.
tested. We're being tested.
Yes.
But the will of YaHuWaH is being established.
So, what was the answer of the persecution began over Michayehu because of speaking the truth and speaking in righteousness. First, he was struck in the cheek. He was accused that he was not speaking of the Ruach of Elohim because the Ruach is with me, not with you. But YaHushaphat knew that the prophet of YaHuWaH was Michayehu, not the rest. And he did nothing, by the way. And Michayehu said, "Look, you shall see on that day when you go into an inner room to hide." And the sovereign of Israel said, "Take Michayehu and return him to Amon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, son of the sovereign." And said, "Thus said the sovereign, put this one in prison, persecution, and feed him with bread of affliction and water of affliction until I come in peace."
So he's going to be in prison until I'm going to return.
Exactly. So persecution because of standing firm for righteousness' sake. And Michayehu said, if you ever return in peace, YaHuWaH has not spoken by me.
Wow.
And he said, "Hear all you people."
So he was saying, you're not going to return and not even in peace.
And the sovereign of Israel and Yehoshaphat, the sovereign of Yehuda, went up to Ramoth Gilad. And the sovereign of Israel said to Yehoshaphat, "Let me disguise myself and go into the battle. But you, my friend, you put on your robes. You are the king." Deceit. All over the place. So the sovereign of Israel disguised himself and went into battle. And the sovereign of Aram had commanded the 32 commanders of his chariots, saying, fight with no one small or great, but only with the sovereign of Israel. And it came to be when the commanders of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, that they said, indeed, it is the sovereign of Israel. So they turned aside to fight against him, and Jehoshaphat cried out. And it came to be when the commanders of the chariots saw that it was not the sovereign of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him.
So he was this close to be killed.
So, why? Because he decided to be a companion of those that were doing evil. I am echad with you. Let's go to battle. Even I didn't think on this before. Even when he heard the word of YaHuWaH. Remember, he was the one asking for a true prophet of YaHuWaH, and he heard the words of Michayehu.
He knew that
He
everything
knew,
was
he
just to
consulted.
entice Ahab.
He knew what was going to happen, and he went to battle anyway. We know why. You know why now, right? You will know why in a minute. Just give me a second, just to complete the scenario. So because of deciding to be a companion of evildoers, he almost died. He almost died. So there's consequences. There's always a consequence on any decision we make, but there could be wrong consequences when our decisions is to be a companion of evil, when we are not pushing back on evil and not staying firm in righteousness. And actually, it was even worse what happened to Jehoshaphat later because of that wrong decision. That's why, taking your words, but I like them actually, our feet needs to be on the rock all the time. Our hands, our mouth, our words to help others, but not with one foot in the rock and the other foot in the sand.
And there's always a balance. You have
Yes.
to keep the more of the, 60% of your weight, more of that on the right place. Then you can help other person. If not, you're going to be pulled and
Exactly.
you're going to fall.
It's like it's like this game.
Yeah.
Sometimes we play with Cristobal, that you have this circle and you are in the fight, and the purpose of the game is that you need to take the opponent outside the circle.
Yeah, but you're playing that game on the computer, not in the real life.
In the screen, the little screen. Yeah. But then maybe we can do it in the.
No way.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it next week. In real life. So let's continue in the verse 34. And a man drew a bow in his simplicity and struck the sovereign of Israel between the joints of his armor. And he said to the driver of his chariot, turn around and take me out of the battle, for I am wounded. And the battle increased that day, and the sovereign was propped up in his chariot, facing the Arameans, and died at evening. And the blood ran out from the wound onto the floor of the chariot. And as the sun was going down, a shout passed through the camp, saying, each to his city and each to his land, exactly as Michayehu was prophesying, the house of Israel scattered, and everyone saying, go to their own house. So the sovereign died and was brought to Shomeron, and they buried the sovereign in Shomeron. And when the chariot was washed at the pool in Shomeron, the dogs licked up his blood where the horse bathed, according to the word of YaHuWaH, which he had spoken. And the rest of the acts of Ahab, and all that he did, and the ivory house which he built, and all the cities that he built, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of Israel? And Ahab slept with his fathers, and Ahaziah his son reigned in his place. And let me make let me put a placeholder here. I think from now on, I have identified some scribes' mistakes in the writings here, because this Ahaziah actually is the son of somebody else who reigned, and actually we'll see it next week, who reigned in Ahab's place over the house of Israel, was his son that was called YaHuram or Yoram.
But I have a different opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
My opinion is that one of the sons is named Ahaziyahu, and he reigned only for 2 years.
Okay.
And then the other son, that I think that it was killing the first one, was reigning in the place, and this is the one that you said that Jeroboam.
Could be. So we will do our homework for
we
next
need
week.
to do it. Yeah, we need
And
to
we
do
will
it.
clarify this one. My position.
Yeah,
This
is
one,
that
you know what we are going to do is about this game that we are playing in the screen with the Cristobal. We're going to do it in real life with Lillian, and the one that is winning, in order to decide what is the real truth. So the one that is winning is going to explain next week
Okay.
the genealogy.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
What-
but it's kind of difficult to understand.
Yes, there is a lot of mistake. No, there is few mistakes, not a lot. There are few mistakes that I think the hand or the pen of the scribe were making some mistakes on the genealogies. We see it here in the book of Kings, in this part only, and also in the book of Chronicles. Okay? So let's continue. And Jehoshaphat, the son of Asa, began to reign over Yehudah in the 4th year of Ahab, sovereign of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he became sovereign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi. And he walked in all the ways of his father Asa. And Asa was a good king, I think, right?
Yeah, it was a good king.
The only mistake he did at the end, if I remember, he was the one calling the physicians because of the disease on his feet at the end.
Yeah, and the name of the mother, it's Forsaken, and is daughter of my weapon.
Okay.
That is the meaning.
So regarding Jehoshaphat, he did not turn aside from them, doing what was right in the eyes of YaHuWaH. Only the high places were not taken away, for the people slaughtered and burnt incense in the high places. And listen to this is exactly what I was telling you. And Jehoshaphat made peace with sovereign of Israel. So that was a mistake of Jehoshaphat. He compromised truth, righteousness, because of peace. And this fight is happening even inside us. It's not necessarily happening with somebody else. All decisions and all the fights are happening within us first. Our attitude, our decisions, our behavior, our conduct. You know, he decided within himself, you know, I want to make peace with the house of Israel, maybe with good intentions. But at the end, because of making peace, he compromised the truth that even going to battle and almost losing life.
No, you
Because of
make me, I don't know, see like the Yehuda and Israel, the house of Yehuda and Israel is like inside of us. Like we have the Yehuda and we
Maybe,
have
it's a beautiful thought.
that house of Israel, and they're fighting all the time. And sometimes we are doing good. Sometimes we are passing like the rulership from one side to the other side.
So let's continue. And the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat and the mind that he showed and how he fought, are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereign of Yehudah? And the rest of the cult prostitutes who remained in the days of his father Asa, he cleared out from the land. And there was then no sovereign in Edom. A deputy was sovereign. And Jehoshaphat made Tarshish ships to go to Ophir for gold. However, they did not go, for the ships were wrecked at Etzion Geber. So this happened when we connect with other passage because of what he decided to go with Ahab and to go and to have this union to be Ahab with Ahab. Okay. Then Ahaziyahu, the son of Ahab, said to Jehoshaphat, "Let my servants go with your servants in the ships." But Jehoshaphat would not. So Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers and was buried with his father in the city of David, his father. And Jehoram, his son, reigned in his place, on the place of Jehoshaphat. Ahaziyahu, son of Ahab, began to reign over Israel in Shomeron in the 17th year of Jehoshaphat, sovereign of Yehudah, and reigned 2 years over Israel, and did evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH, and walked in the ways of his father, and in the way of his mother, Jezebel, and in the way of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who had made Israel sin, and serve Baal, and bow himself to it, and provoked YaHuWaH, Elohim of Israel, according to all that his father had done. So I know that we are taking
Had-
10 more minutes, but I think I will mention this, though we will see it later on the other books. What was the type of union and the mistake and the compromise that YaHuWaH made for peace that brought a lot of consequences to his own family, to himself? We saw some of the consequences here, that almost died. He wanted to bring gold and couldn't do it. And evil consequences of a death on his house. Okay? And let me put it in this way. When you study the genealogy of Mashiach, you will see that I call this is the first curse, okay, over Ahab. There are 3 names in the genealogy that are missing. Is Ahazyahu, YaHuWaH, and Amazyahu. Those are 3 kings that are the descendants
from
of
Yehuda.
Yehuda, are the descendants of YaHuWaH. YaHuWaH, Yahuram, Ahazyahu, YaHuWaH, Amazyahu. Those 3 names, Ahazyahu, YaHuWaH, Amazyahu, are not in the genealogy of Mashiach.
Because they did it.
They were skipped. What was the reason they were skipped? Because of the curse over Ahab. And why they were cursed? Since they were coming from the lineage of YaHuWaH, of David, it's because of the decision of YaHuWaH to be Ahad with Ahab. What was that decision? Let me look for it.
Yeah, you have to explain how that union was even more
Yes.
further.
It was not only a decision.
Not
It was
only the action.
It was a wrong decision that brought consequences. So he compromised a lot. So let me show it to you that this thing with if we go to 2 Chronicles chapter 19, I have this as part of the other study in my notebook about what's the name?
About like the 100 studies.
YaHuWaH Melech and Kohen Gadol. YaHuWaH King and High Priest. So it says, we are going to read the first 1 to verse 4. It says, and YaHuWaH, the sovereign of Yehuda, returned to his house in peace in Jerusalem. If you read the chapter 18, it's talking exactly about what we read in this portion.
Yeah.
After all of this happened, he's returning. And Yehu, the son of Hanani, the seer, went out. It's not the same Yehu. This is the son of Hanani. The other one is the son of Nimshi.
Yeah.
The seer went out to face him and said to sovereign YaHuWaH, do you help the wrong and love those who hate Yahuwah? Therefore, the wrath of Yahuwah is upon you. You see, a servant of Yahuwah is coming to
tell him
the truth. Are you going to help those that hate me? And this is interesting. Who are the ones that hates Yahuwah? That's another title of another study. Those who hate Yahuwah. Those ones that are doing evil before his eyes. So, are we going to compromise, thinking that we could receive exactly the same words, or we are going to stand firm? But good matters, continues saying the seer, but good matters are found in you, in that you have removed the Asherot from the land and have prepared your heart to seek Elohim. So YaHuWaH dwelt in Jerusalem, and he went out again among the people from Beersheba to the hill country of Ephraim, and brought them back to YaHuWaH Elohim of their fathers. Okay? So, confirmation from the word of YaHuWaH that what he did was wrong. There is wrath from YaHuWaH upon him. But let's see what was the union. Let's go to the previous chapter, 2 Chronicles chapter 18. And this is the first one. And YaHuWaH had great riches and esteem, and allied himself with Ahab by marriage.
It doesn't mean that he
He
got
didn't marry with
Ahab.
Ahab.
No.
What that doesn't mean that the two families got into a covenant of marriage between the families.
Yeah. His son was married to a daughter of Ahab.
So let's go to the verse 21. Verse 1 to 7. And YaHuWaH slept with his father and was buried with his father in the city of David, and Jehoram his son reigned in his place. And he had brothers, the sons of Jehoshaphat, Azariahu, and Jehiel, and Zechariahu, and Azariahu, and Michael, and Jephadyahu. All these were the sons of Jehoshaphat, sovereign of Israel. And their father gave them many gifts of silver and gold and precious items, with walled cities in Yehudah. But he had given the reign to Jehoram, because he was the firstborn. And when Jehoram had risen up over the reign of his father and strengthened himself, he killed the king of the house of Yehudah, the son of Jehoshaphat, a righteous man, though he made this big mistake of marriage union between families with the kingdom of Israel. He killed all his brothers with the sword, and also others of the heads of Israel. Jehoram was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And listen to this. And he walked in the way of the sovereigns of Israel, as the house of Ahab had done. For he had the daughter of Ahab as wife, and he did evil in the eyes of YaHuWaH. You know, Jehoshaphat decided, because he compromised truth and righteousness because of peace, to give his son as the husband of the daughter of Jezebel and Ahab.
So they made this union again.
And when you go into the genealogy, you will see that the name of that woman is Atalyahu. The wife of Jehoram is Atalyahu. And Atalyahu is coming later on the story, and this is coming in the second book of Kings that we will see. In one moment, she wanted to take power, and actually she was reigning for a bit. The house of Yehudah. So, and who was the first son of this union? The son of Jehoram was Ahaziah. And we will see later, when we began the study of the second Kings, how everything is connected, and how the curse over the house of Ahab, because of the decision of Jehoshaphat to compromise truth and righteousness because of peace, that brought death to his own house. And the three names that are missing in the genealogy of Mashiach somehow are connected to the curse that were removed, even though that Mashiach is coming from that lineage. You know, sometimes he wants to do these kind of things that in order to bring righteousness from the evil. To transform things, is just to show us something.
He's the only one who can do that. He's the only one who can do the complete opposite.
Yes. So what I bring in this, and we are going to finish with this one, is just to understand the level of decisions that are going within us, that somehow are pushing us away and making us compromise the truth. You know, it was not only a decision to go and visit and go to battle and to express a statement saying, my horse, my people is your people. Why he was making that statement? Because there were already families. The main mistake of Jehoshaphat is that he decided to
become one family.
When most probably they knew that was the decision of YaHuWaH to divide the kingdom, to separate the kingdom. He was trying to, through peace and through marriage union, somehow maybe to reunite the kingdom by his own efforts, instead of waiting for YaHuWaH to do it, for the right timing to do it. So maybe a good intention can lead us to make decisions that are not aligned to the will of YaHuWaH.
Yeah, I remember once we were talking about this with the things about the divorce and things like that, that one person cannot put together cannot divide. It says that the man cannot divide or separate what YaHuWaH has put together. But also it's on the other way around.
It is not written, but we can understand. It's
that
implied
we
in the
cannot
text
put together
what he has
things
divided.
that he has is not his will. So sometimes our actions, we have to understand, are according to his will, or we are doing what is our will. So that's another study.
Yes, that's another study. So that's what we have for today, you know. I like
Yeah.
it. I think this
Yeah.
is a beautiful way to
Yeah.
finish the first king. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful examples. And I know I feel, and this is not because of us, but I feel that everything we have been discussing today is so important. It's so important, especially for the days we are living. It's about the right decisions. It's about staying for the truth. It's about staying all the time on the rock, having compassion, doing the will of YaHuWaH all the time, bringing the light of YaHuWaH to the dark places, but not compromising the truth and the righteousness in order to bring somebody. It's not our job to convince people to do Teshuvah. That's the Ruach of Elohim in their hearts. Our responsibility, our job is to bring light.
And to be witness about
To be witness.
what YaHuWaH has had made in our own life.
Is to sow
Yeah.
the seed.
Yeah.
Who is providing the growth and the fruits is YaHuWaH.
And is
If we want to grow the plant, if we want to bring by ourselves, our own strength, the fruit, we're making exactly the same mistake of YaHuShaphat, because we will compromise truth and we are going to remove one foot from the rock in order to try to do it by ourselves. That's not emunah. That's not waiting on YaHuWaH. That's trying to do things with our own hands and with our own efforts.
like trying to be like YaHuWaH.
Actually, it's trying to be Elohim.
Yeah. And we're not called to do that. Yeah. And what is interesting that I really was thinking about this, that all this name of the kings, their names were written, and always it said, is not his name written on the annals of the kings and things like that. And we know, and it says that it's a book where all the names of the children of YaHuWaH are written there. So I wonder if we are doing enough. So sometimes when YaHuWaH is going to say, is not your name there written and your action and all that you do, all that you did when you were alive in the earth? What are going to be our good things or the bad things? I hope that they are going to be good. So that's also a hope to be written there, that sometimes we are going to be there and among the children of YaHuWaH.
Exactly. So we really hope that this study has been blessed you. We hope that this book, this cycle in the book of First King has brought some insight to all of you, to all of us, blessings, to see the word and the covenant and the commandments in action, in real situations, life situations, that somehow we can connect even our own situations and experiences to this, and how we should decide and behave ourselves in order not to fall into the trap, not to go astray, is to stay firm. So we want to thank all of you for joining us
thank
today.
you.
It's always a blessing, and we really hope that we'll see each other next week, at least in the chat. You can see our faces, we don't see your faces, but we can see your interaction here in the chat.
And we pray that Abba help you and guide you in everything that you are doing, and also that we can continue praying for all our brothers and sisters that we, from time to time, we don't have news about them, but we know that a lot of people, even ourselves, sometimes are here being sifted and being tried, because YaHuWaH is doing, through those trials, He's extracting the best from us. So we hope that even though we have some names that we cannot see from a long time, that we pray that YaHuWaH is with them and helping them in every way that they can need.
And I like, Karen, your comment about the theme of the week. That's true. Stand firm till the end.
Till the end. Yeah.
To the end.
Yeah.
So that's the theme of the week. I like it. So let's keep it in our minds every day this week, that we need to stand firm to the end. Every day, and we do it every day, with every decision, with every action, with every word that's going out from our mouth. So again, thank you so much. YaHuWaH be with you all. We hope to see you next Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. And we will finish with a song that you told me Sister Pen was mentioning. So we will.
I hope that it can be something for her too.
Okay, let's do it. So
YaHuWaH
be with you all. Shabbat Shalom. Bye bye.
Bye.
יברכך YaHuWaH וישמרך יאר YaHuWaH פניו לך וחונקה יישא YaHuWaH פניו לך ויעשה לך שלום יישא YaHuWaH פניו לך ויעשה לך שלום ויעשה לך שלום ויעשה לך שלום YaHuWaH bless you and keep you. YaHuWaH make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. YaHuWaH lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. YaHuWaH make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. YaHuWaH lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
YaHuWaH te bendiga y te guarde. YaHuWaH haga resplandecer su rostro en ti y tenga de ti compasión. YaHuWaH alce su rostro sobre ti